Hey everyone, this is Arcadius and welcome back to Naval. Today we will be reviewing Kitakami. Now, some of you may be really excited for the ship because you take one look at her and say, oh my torpedoes. And yes, she does get quite a bit of torpedoes. 40 total with 20 to a side. However, if you take a second glance at her, you can notice that she's not all that she's hyped up to be. And I'll explain why. First off, she is a overglorified Kuma. Now, I personally enjoy Kuma, but that's because she's at the tier where she's supposed to be. However, with Kitakami, she's thrown so much higher in the food chain that she just overpowered everywhere, it feels like. Let's start with armament. She has four 140mm guns that can't do anything, pretty much, not even two destroyers. They can't even fire backwards. It has no rear armament. And its AA consists of these two guns right here. And with that, you have a max AA rating of 0. And that does come back to bite you in more ways to one. Now, the one place where she does excel is torpedoes. As you can tell, she has tons and tons of torpedoes. The torpedoes, I'm pretty sure, are the strongest in the game at 24,300 damage, 62 knots, 10.5 range, and 0.44 rounds per minute. Now that is like I said, one of the worst torpedo reloads in the game, but it's a necessary drawback since it has so many torpedoes. So, barely any useful guns, no AA. Well, she has to have some defining features, right? Other than torpedoes? Not really. Her health isn't too good. She is relatively fast with speed boosts that is equipped with it. However, base she does 32 knots. Her detectability is monstrous, and her maneuverability, she turns like a semi. So she's not very good there either. Her armor is kind of trolly. It's thick enough to shatter most HE shells. However, it's not thick enough to arm most armor piercing shells. Most of the time, if you fire armor piercing at this ship, you're going to overpen. However, if you use light, like heavy cruiser shells, like 8-inch and lower, you might have better results. That being said, I once had a good friend aptly describe the ship as Doomsday in a paper bag. If you ignore her and or get caught by her torpedoes, you are most likely dead. However, if you are able to take her out quickly, then that is definitely one less thorn in your side. In all honesty, I was really hyped for this ship when it first came out, but after playing it a few times, I realized that it is definitely just a one-trick pony. The only thing this ship is good for is flooding 20 torpedoes per side, and then you have to sail around for a couple minutes while your torpedoes reload, and in that time you are practically useless and defenseless. So, now that I've given you my opinion on the ship, let's take her into a game and let's see how she does. Alright, and here we have ourselves a game. One battleship, a bunch of cruisers, and two destroyers. It's a good thing there are not a lot of battleships, which means that your survivability has a high tendency to go up, I guess, per game. However, that also means your damage drops considerably. This ship is, I guess you can say, designed to hunt down battleships. Like I said, you don't have armor to deal with them. You don't even have armor to deal with destroyers, basically. But it does have the firepower to sink anything it comes across if it is allowed to. That's why I said you can't afford to ignore the ship. Now my health and speed are a bit more. I have buffs applied, but even without them, even with them, it's still not going to make much of a difference. I can see I actually have accuracy for my guns because just there's so few of them that it doesn't matter how fast they fire. That you need them to hit, and they do set the occasional fire. And there are some games where I only have damage from my guns. My torpedoes either don't miss, or I don't get close enough, or I don't want to, depending on the target. I have had over 100,000 damage games with just guns, so they're not useless, but I won't just use guns. Obviously, this is not a gunship by any means at all. You do get 3 heals, which is helpful when you take damage from being sneezed at by anything. Speed is, like I said, not the best. Every other ship at this tier pretty much goes faster than you. As you can tell, maneuverability, I'm going full rudder, and it takes forever and a day to turn. And you don't even have stealth torpedo capability. You're seen before you can fire your torpedoes. But you can use your guns. Like I said, I have accuracy buffed on them, but even then, only 3 shells, you're not going to do enough, even to a destroyer. Sometimes I do use a ship and rush enemies. I'll probably do that in this game, considering there's only 1 battleship. And with how much damage these torpedoes take out, it'd only take about 1 torpedo launcher to take out each cruiser, maybe 2. But even then, I have 5 to a side. So, yeah, it doesn't really matter. One thing that I do, or have tried with in the past, is trying to conserve torpedoes. Not firing all 20 torpedoes at once. I mean, yes, that is a devastating spread, but at that point, you're basically worthless. And so this Kitakami is coming head on, so let's dump some torpedoes. Maybe we'll get her. Gaskogna just took a bunch, and is actually quite damaged. Alright, let's see what we can do here. Alright, AA is pitting away, but it's not going to do much. Since these are bots, I'm not too afraid of torpedoes being launched by the enemy Kitakami. I might nail the Mogami back. Yeah, looks like I'm gonna hit the Mogami. 2 torpedoes, and she's sunk. And then we have Prince Eugen. Prince Eugen is down. But you can see how easily I'm taking damage. And it's not even from large caliber guns, it's secondaries from Gaskogna. So it's mainly 127s and the occasional 152 from that same gun. Now I could try and take the destroyer. I'm gonna try. Let's go for it. I have my doubts on whether or not it'll hit, but you never know unless you try. So let's go. And yes, I'm crazy to run down a battleship in this. But in my Babylon attack, it's less dangerous than you would think. Yeah, destroyer moved, so it's whatever. And even, yeah, see, I'm getting shatters with high explosive on the enemy Kitakami. But if I switch to armor piercing, it would just overpen or ricochet, so it's hard to know. And you can tell by ripple firing your torpedoes, you always have a capability of shooting. I'm back on fire. Let's see if we can knock out this Kagero with our guns. Only 1 fires directly ahead, but hey, it was a hit. Sank the enemy Kitakami, we lost. Oh! Okay, and there's a good explanation of the armor for this ship. You get focused by a battleship, and you are automatically taken out of the game. So, yeah. My thoughts on this ship? Like I said, it's Doomsday in a paper bag. You're not going to be able to do much with it. I mean, it is a fun ship, or it can be fun, I guess you could say. But for the most part, it's just out of place everywhere. Trying to find a good ship. The one thing that I do have to say, though, is with the such short torp range of 10.5, there's less of a chance of you friendly torping than you would think. Let's go back to the Kagero here. I'm not quite sure if I want this game to continue. So we're going to pause it until the end, alright? Alright, now the game has ended. let's see how we did. So I didn't actually do much in that game. And I normally would have re-recorded another game to show you how she played, but I figured that was a good example of the armor of the ship and how it is best to not be shot at all if it can be helped. You can even tell that the secondaries were whittling her down quite easily. She was down half health before I was basically annihilated by the 15-inch guns from Gascogna. Now, how the game went, almost 100,000 damage, 3 ships sunk, so 3 out of 7, so almost half the team. 21 shell hits, 5 torpedoes, 1 fire, 3 floods, 2 defending caps. So between 21 shell hits and 5 torpedoes, almost 100,000 damage. This thing has amazing DPM with its torpedoes. It is also privy to the free XP bonus, so even though it might be kind of awkward, you can definitely use this to grind free XP. Now, would I recommend this ship? Honestly, probably not. Yes, it does have fun games, but in the majority of them, you're going to face what you just did, or what I just did. You're going to play for a little bit, launch some torpedoes, and then get sent back to port as soon as a battleship looks at you. Yes, it is a fun ship, but it's not a very useful, and I only play her once in a while. If you're into one-ship pony or one-trick ponies, then sure, go ahead, play it. But it does get boring after a while. So that is how I feel about her. Whether or not you purchase her is up to you. Thank you for watching my video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.